Well, I'm here in my workshop today. A couple small fixes to my log trailer. One is this bar here, which is meant to protect the fittings, which they sort of did. It was bent when I got it, but I bent it further, and I bent it enough where these actually started weeping, but I was able to just tighten them up and they stopped. But this is, I tried to put a wrench on it just to bend it back, and I did not. So what I may do is cut it off here and here, straighten this out, put something else so it's a bit more rugged. You can see the one over here is still pristine. The other thing I'd like to do is weld some sort of a sharp edge or a point or something on here and on here. There's some occasions where I like to pinch the log, but right now it'll just slip off quite often. So I'm thinking if I put some sort of a pin there, then it will actually jab into the log a bit, allowing me to do that. And the other thing is just to grease it, which is probably not video worthy, but it needs to be done. So we can see here they don't come straight down, but maybe not even a 45, it may be like a 60, 70 degree angle. So I'll try to bend these back. I think this is pretty solidly welded on there. I'm not worried about damaging that. Same here, just bend it a bit. Flatten this out. Thinking of maybe putting a plate on the side here to actually protect this hose and this fitting a bit better. But I'll still need access to put a wrench in there and to take the hose fitting off if I need to. But even if I had something, say from here over to there, I think that would provide a lot more protection than it has now. So it's going to be mounted like this, but in order to provide clearance for the for the hose and the fittings, which go just a little bit beyond the edge of this. I'm just going to angle this out a bit so there'll be a little hand holding while I tack this in place. So I think that will do it. So that should provide a lot of strength so it won't get bent like it was before, and a little bit of side protection. And hopefully easy access to the fittings if I do ever need to change that hose. So let's finish welding this piece and then put her up. Windy environments are not friendly to MIG welding. These two look fine, with obviously a lot of porosity there. And mixed results on the back, but it's fine. It's overly welded as it is, I'm sure, so you get some welds that are weak. That's okay. So I've ground most of the evidence of poor quality weld off to protect the innocent. I guess the guilty in this case. So now, the challenge would be to hold this in place while I tack it, not fall down, not be blown over by the wind. Wish me luck. Well, it's not pretty, but I think there's enough gobs of weld to keep it in place. That would look good until the last one, and I don't know, wind came along and got a little volcano there. So that should provide a bit more protection and a lot more strength for this bar not to be pushed up that way anymore. I mean, it can obviously bend here easier than over there. But, well, we'll call that one good. Well, it's the same issue with the wind out here, but it's a little bit of an experiment. I mean, these may be too weak. They may break off, I'm not sure. But we'll see what happens, and then I'll modify it if need be. And I'll do the other side. They look sharp. I may grind them down a bit blunter, but I'll give it a try first and see what happens. I bought these rear forks back in November. Here we are in June, so it's been a while, and I just started using them yesterday to move the firewood racks. I had the front forks on, which are over there. They work well, but it's sort of at the limit of the front, and it sticks out so far. It's just very tippy. Thankfully, I've not tipped one over. On the tractor, we tipped them over in the spring, as you might have seen that video earlier. But I thought I needed rear forks either to move these or at least to have ballast, to easily put ballast on the back. So I think this is the fourth stack that I've put in there, and it's working quite well. It still takes a little getting used to. So I'll put this one away and you can watch me work with the rear forks. Use motor oil as my preservative. In fact, these had them on the bottom too. They spent the winter sitting on top of the grass. So there's a couple other advantages of these. One is this sort of is replaceable, so if they do rot or get damaged for some reason, just 3 screws, replace them with something new. The other advantage is it's another 2 inches off the ground, so I don't have to be quite as proficient using the forks to get under them. So these two are all ready to go. Each of these racks holds a half a cord because I cut my firewood 24 inches long. So the racks are 8 feet wide, 4 feet high, and the 2 feet depth is half a cord. So we're ready to split some of this easy splitting elm. I'm being facetious. Elm does not split easy. that was interesting. I tried that end first against the anvil, and then this end both ways. So I had done a video of my modifications to this. One of them, because this opening was less than 24 inches, or was exactly 24, but it's probably 24 and a half now. I took these welded things off and just welded these tabs on here to keep stuff from sliding around because they were taking up a bit too much room. And I had to cut back this. But I think I left about the same angle, but seeing what it was doing with that elm, what I might do is take the grinder and do sort of a hollow grind, meaning make the tip sharper and then curve out. So I'll take my grinder up and down there. This, I'm not sure if it's mild steel, but it's not too rugged. I was able to cut it with a blade, several blades. There's a lot of beef there to cut. Anyhow, to make that more wide so I could more easily fit in 24 inches, you know, plus a quarter, plus an eighth sort of thing. Anyhow, you'll note, perhaps you noticed with the elm in particular, but almost everything is going to generate a lot of these sliver pieces, which make excellent kindling, which is why I collect them in here, let it dry out. It's good kindling. But every piece with the elm has all kinds of these slivers that it generates. That last piece was actually apple, 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 elm, elm, elm. Almost everything else is elm. The apple doesn't split that bad, but it's a bit gnarly. It's actually really good firewood, BTU wise. I think more BTU per cord or per pound than almost any other North American species anyhow. I had thoughts of trying to put this big guy on the splitter. It's not that far, but my wife made me think twice about it, which is probably a good idea. So I'm going to take this, put it in the tractor, put it over there with the other one, which came off, I think, the section just below it or above it. Anyhow, two big pieces. I'd have to load it onto the splitter with something, a piece of machinery instead of people. But even then, who knows if it'll split it or not. I might try it, that other piece, after I hollow grind this, make a bit sharper point. But for now, let's get this out of the way. The rest of this I think is fine. So that'll wrap it up for these little projects here, for some minor improvements to the stuff that I work on a regular basis here, at least during this time of year. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it.